So, Michael, I wanted to share some of the key challenges that I face as a solopreneur right now, which is quite interesting. I've got one client, right? I struggle to get them to pay my invoices on time.
Mm.
Yeah. And I actually have an invoice overdue from November last year.
Mm.
It's, what is it? We're in March right now.
That's not good.
It's not good. Hey, I'll tell you, month in, month out, comes
Yeah.
back to the same basic thing, right?
Mm.
I don't like chasing them up.
Mm.
It's a very uncomfortable email for me to write.
Mm.
I find it really difficult to even draft that email.
Mm.
Yeah. I often ask ChatGPT for help to help me do it. Right. Yeah. And just the admin, it just comes back. I've got to email them every month. I've got to tell them this invoice is overdue. I've got to keep a track of that.
Mm.
And yes, cash then becomes a problem for me
Mm.
eventually, because then it's already March now and I've got to start paying income tax. Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's just so many, there's so many reasons why that might be happening.
Go on. Let's explore why. I want to look at it from a main contractor's perspective, right?
I think, often when you hear about late payments or cash flow problems in the media, it's made out that there's these big bad corporates or big companies that are using SMEs and their suppliers as a bank, and they're taking advantage. And I think that's overly simplistic. Even myself, running a business and paying bills, I've caught myself, and we're trying to make early payments. Yeah. I've caught myself like, I forgot a bill. I forgot to pay that guy. Oh no, it was a lawyer, so I don't feel too bad. But
that wasn't too bad, mate. He's the guy that can take you to court.
In your situation, you don't know. Have they received the invoice? Have you spoken to them? Has it been approved? Has the person left who you are dealing with? And it comes back to the basic processes. You have to write those emails. You have to keep that, be really clear about expectations for payment and follow up and automate that as much as possible. And there are a ton of great tools out there for that. I do totally sympathize in terms of doing that final chasing them down. I've spoken to some subcontractors who've been in a similar situation, and they turn up at the office of the customer and they sit in the waiting room until they get the money.
Wow, really?
Yep.
Shit.
Had a couple of guys tell me similar stories.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not going to be doing that. But.
No, but it's not funny, right? If you're a subcontractor and you're waiting on a large invoice, and someone hasn't paid it, that could sink your business. And
absolutely, as a small business, it would completely sink your business. Right?
Yeah, I think and I think that is often the final step in the collapse of a number of those high profile construction company collapses.
So right, okay. So let's talk about that. So we've had a number of construction companies go broke in the recent past. Yep. EBIT being one of them. There's another company in Wellington that went broke recently. We keep hearing these stories about construction companies going broke. Is cash flow part of the root cause of why they're going broke?
I think it's the last step.
It is the last step.
When there's not enough money to pay the bills and you have to face up to reality that it's game over. Now, construction's very complicated.
Understand? Yep.
Industry.
I'm in it. I live it. I breathe it.
Yeah.
And it could be they've signed up to bad contracts. It could be multiple compounding issues.
I think so. That's right.
But what could Relay.ai have helped the situation buy them more time?
From a financial perspective, that's our goal.
Yeah.
We want to provide a high level of financial sophistication to smaller operators that don't have a CFO.
Yeah.
That are doing their accounts on the kitchen table, or the wife or the partner's doing it for them usually.
Did you research me before you came?
Well, I hear it. It's a common story, and I talk to these people, right?
Yeah.
So, I think
to help mitigate the risks.
Yeah, one of the things that we see out there is, and I hear this a lot anecdotally, that you know, it's often in the boom times when companies come unstuck.
Yeah.
Because if you think you've got a smaller operator, everything starts to boom. They start taking on more jobs, more risk. It becomes more complicated and more difficult to manage the finances and keep everything, all the timings right, getting everything aligned.
Yeah.
And so that's when it can often collapse, and they find themselves in a situation where they don't have enough money to pay their bills, and they go under. So that's a tragedy, really.
Yeah.
Because, if to take you as an example, or even me, when I first moved to London, I was an IT contractor, and I didn't know anything about accounting or tax or finance, and had to learn. And,
me too.
Eventually I became the guy that everyone would come and ask about, how does this work? What do you do? And I end up doing people's tax returns for them to help them out.
Right.
So, and if you think about it, everyone who starts a business, they got in the business to do the thing that they love or that they're good at, to serve
Provide
and help
a service,
customers.
add value. Yep.
They didn't get into it for paperwork and admin and taxes and all of that sort of stuff. And as a consequence, a lot of people just don't upskill on those things. And as their business grows, it reaches an inflection point where you need those skills. And if you don't have them, that can be the end. So from our perspective at Relay, we're trying to build a platform that can automate your cash flow for you completely.
Right.
And provide transparency between the buyer and the seller, or the main contractor and the subcontractor, about exactly what's going on from a financial perspective between the two of you.
So you're improving communication between all parties involved.
And transparency.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to see, you can log into Relay, you can see, oh, they've received my claim.
Yeah.
Oh, it's approved.
Yeah.
Oh, press button, I can get paid now.
Yeah. And it's just as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. And it doesn't stop there, really, because we can help you pay your bills and automate that whole thing, so that when the money comes in, it automatically goes out to pay all of your approved bills.
Right.
And so our goal is to keep the money moving down the supply chain. I pay you, you pay your supplier, they pay their supplier, and so on, all on Relay.